Hi, guys. It is March 20th, and it's the International Day of Happiness. There are lots and lots of things that we say make us happy, but I have been studying it just so I could bring it to you, and I found that there are some gaps because happiness really has to do with our imagination versus our reality. So, in the first point, we call it the imagination gap. It's like when you choose where you want to go on vacation, you imagine it and you imagine the room and you imagine the beach and you imagine all your kids being in the pool with those beautiful children that are on the brochure. But when you arrive, your reality could be a bit different. Thanks to technology, where they've airbrushed things in or photoshopped things out, it has skewed reality. And those angelic looking children who are in the pictures in the pool, they weren't there the week that you were there. There were other kids in the pool who didn't get along with anyone. That really shaped what how much happiness you got out of that week, simply because what you imagined did not come to what you perceived from reality. The next is the interpersonal gap. And it's when we're with others, we judge ourselves based on what's around you. It's like if you lived in a poor neighborhood and someone gave you $50,000, you would feel rich. However, if you lived in a rich neighborhood and someone gave you 50,000, it may or may not change the way you feel. It is a time where rich neighborhoods make you feel poor, poor neighborhoods can make you feel rich. It's not a great way to examine life or even happiness, but it is reality. We tend to focus on rich, famous, and beautiful. So it makes others who are not as wealthy, not as famous, and not as beautiful to feel poor or lesser. And that interpersonal gap is oftentimes why you would invite somebody else to go with you to an evening event. Somebody who might not be as good looking as you are. Because why? It makes us feel better about ourselves. Strange but true, it is. And one more is the intertemporal gap. That means that in my imagination, I always see myself going uphill. I always expect to improve. I always expect to make more money. I always expect to be able to do better. And in reality, that's not always true. Think of what we've been through in the last 3 years. We were awesome. Travel was phenomenal. And in one short month, everything in the world came to a screeching halt. So, what we expected and what we tell others they can expect, how we show that improvement over time, that may be expectations that support disappointment or support us not being satisfied. Because life, unfortunately, is not always a gain. We raise our kids. We tell them they can be anything. They can do anything. They can be Beyonce, or they could be the next president of the United States. Well, sometimes those expectations lead our children to feel lesser than they could because we painted an unrealistic picture for them. I personally pushed Trey into baseball. Boy, I loved baseball. I loved all sports. I was good in sports. Just about any sports. Put me on a field, I was at home. That wasn't Trey's. Just wasn't his thing. It wasn't something he enjoyed, and even though I pushed him into it, it was not something that proved fruitful for us. You know, there are many areas we battle between reality and expectations. One of the things that we could do is use more realistic advertising, more realistic representation of how the world is, and not paint it all rich, famous, and beautiful. We're not great predictors of our happiness. So when we make our decisions based solely on imagining what that's going to be like, oftentimes our expectations are not the expectations made to our family, our kids. While we gave them great goals, we need to add those realistic expectations. It's expectations that make the bronze medalist happier than the silver medalist. Why? Because the silver medalist expected to be first. So they're quite disappointed with being second. While that bronze medalist, his expectation was to be fourth. And he is thrilled to death because he made third place. You know, Robert Waldinger, he said, the happiest and healthiest are the ones with good, warm connections to others. Because our happiness is also related directly to stress. And your good health and good physical health is better with less stress in your life. It's been proven that good relationships are stress relievers. We share and we become calmer. I'm blessed that I have several really good friends that if I'm stressed, I could pick up the phone and call someone. And that's what I'm telling you. If you want to be happier, be someone that we might be that warm connection to. It's going to make the other person happier. And I just about bet you that as that warm connection is created, you too will be happier too. I would love to hear your comments. Just jot them down below. I am going to end and get ready for weekly travel updates. That is going to start in an hour and 15 minutes at 7:30 tonight. Thank you for joining me, and I hope that you're experiencing a happy, happy day. Thanks.